I always love seeing movies or TV shows that tried to predict the 2020s, like there was going to be flying cars and, well, I guess technically there are robots, just not exactly how we imagined them. But here we are in 2025, and of course, this year we've got a lot of Pokemon coming. Mainly, of course, Pokemon Legends ZA, perhaps my personal most anticipated Pokemon title, but also rumors of another potential main series Pokemon game on the horizon. And of course, the Nintendo Switch 2, which has basically been shown off by everyone but Nintendo themselves at this point. So let's begin with Legends ZA and the possibility of the second trailer finally coming because Pokemon Day is coming up on February 27th. I know that's still like almost 2 whole months away, but it's almost guaranteed some Legends ZA news should come out on that day, which is kind of crazy that a whole year went by and we got absolutely no news on it. But at the same time, this is kind of what a lot of Pokemon fans wanted, including myself, for Game Freak to take it a little slower to make sure that their future games are actually, functioning when they come out. Seeing as this will likely be the final Pokemon game on the original Switch, it'd be nice to see them go out with a bang. And as the follow-up to Pokemon Legends Arceus, which in many casual Pokemon fans' eyes were a step in the right direction, I feel Legends ZA's got some pretty high expectations, and especially with the reintroduction of Mega Evolutions, which fans have been wanting to see come back for such a long time. If anything, the lack of trailers have made that boil up even more. Like, we saw Legends Arceus definitely influence Gen 9, basically being the prototype for the open world, so I feel a similar way with Legends ZA. There's so much mystery surrounding this game that when we finally get to actually see it, it could be very indicative of where the series could be heading next generation, so I hope it's a good one. Now, besides for Legends ZA, there is another potential upcoming Pokemon game on the horizon. And this of course comes in the form of a tweet from our favorite Pokemon leaker, who I know has had a bit of a hit or miss track record in recent years. I was actually looking into it and found this Reddit post about the history of Riddler Q's post and how accurate they were to the actual games. And from what I gathered, up until Legends Arceus, he seemed to have a reliable source, but going into Scarlet and Violet, the predictions started to get a little more dodgy or just way too vague. So, as they say, take this with a grain of salt, or knackly if you will, but couple days ago on New Year's Eve, Q tweeted this picture of a dolphin along with a tweet saying, "Happy New Year to you all, the latest project which was not exposed from the Terra leak on NS2 is here." And this is pretty straightforward. I mean, the Terra leak, as we know, was the big Game Freak leak from the end of last year, and he claims this is a project that was not exposed during the Terra leak, and it is for Nintendo Switch 2. And this immediately brought me back to the first games on the original Nintendo Switch, or first Pokemon games, Let's Go, Eevee, and Pikachu. So could history be repeating itself here, and we're gonna get another set of Let's Go games? The reason why I'm leaning towards this hint potentially being about a Let's Go game is, of course, the hint itself, the image here of the dolphin. Immediately, that made me think of the codename Beluga for Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, which if you don't know, they are all in the same family, dolphins, whales, and porpoises. But, and it's a big but, Pokemon Black and White 1 were also codenamed after a dolphin whale. They were codenamed Sayachi, which in Japanese translates to orca or killer whale. Most likely due to the orcas, of course, being black and white, and it ended up being Pokemon Black and White. So again, already in the comments of this Q post, there's so many people speculating black and white because the dolphin is black and white, so it has to be Pokemon Black and White. Oh, by the way, he confirms here that it is not Ikaku or Gaia, which are Legends ZA and Gen 10. And that it is a main series game. So again, no Project Rodeo or Synapse here. It's a main series Pokemon title, which Let's Go does classify as main series. Listen, I'm not saying it's not gonna be black and white. We can't rule out the possibility completely, but it feels a little too on the nose for Riddler Q to just make it so obvious. But what if we were to combine both of these theories of mine, Let's Go and Black and White? I know some people are gonna get triggered by this, but could it be that we're gonna get a Let's Go game based in Unova? After all, the original Pokemon Black and White were like basically a reboot of the Pokemon series with only new Gen 5 Pokemon available during the main story, and a lot of them being Unovan counterparts of familiar Kanto Pokemon. So if there's any game that would fit the Let's Go formula best, it would probably be Black and White. I'm not saying that's exactly what I would want, but And I don't know exactly where I saw because it's not mentioned in Ku's tweet, but apparently this game is supposed to also come out in 2025, or maybe it was originally meant to come out 2025, but because Legends ZA got delayed, then I guess maybe now it might be 2026. But that's just my theory, of course. You guys can feel free to let me know in the comments below what you think this could be hinting at, or if you think it's all a bunch of baloney. But speaking of the Nintendo Switch 2, that is the other topic that I kind of want to dive into in this video, because pretty sure Nintendo confirmed the Nintendo Switch 2 is coming out this year, even though plenty of people online have basically leaked it. Most of these photos, as far as I know, have come from various accessory makers like B-Brand. You know, they make cases for phones and consoles. The screen definitely looks a lot bigger. I love that. I have the Switch OLED, and that's one of the nicest things about it, is that it has like less bezel or black border around the screen. I believe this one here is from a Chinese equivalent of B-Brand, or just a Switch accessory maker. You can see this is their case for it. So the Switch is not going to have all this like design to it. This is like their accessories, but the actual Joy-Cons and Switch itself will look like this. And as you can see, the biggest difference seems to be that the Joy-Cons no longer clip in from the top. Instead, they have like a magnet, which is interesting because the whole advertising for the Switch was that it would make that sound. So maybe when you attach the Joy-Cons on Switch 2, that'll be the advertising, I don't know. The most recent leak was of the motherboard for the Switch 2. So we actually know a lot of the specs that will be in the Nintendo Switch 2, and you can see it here compared to the Switch OLED and the Steam Deck. Now, it's pretty obvious it's not going to be on the same level as a Steam Deck, but taking a look at this article of what we definitely know about Switch 2 is that it exists. That has been confirmed by Nintendo. It will be backwards compatible with Nintendo Switch games, which is great. And most importantly, Nintendo will officially announce the console within its current fiscal year, which means before March 2025. So literally within the next 3 months, we will have the official reveal finally of the Nintendo Switch 2. I thought this logo was a meme. I thought it was a joke, but apparently this is the real Nintendo Switch 2 logo, and it's literally just the Switch 2. Now, like I mentioned, one of the few things we do know for sure is that the Switch 2 will be backwards compatible. And in terms of Pokemon, that's got me wondering if maybe certain games might run better on the Switch 2. Big hint that this could be the case came with Paper Mario Thousand Year Door's Switch remake last year. Apparently, that game's code had support for 4K resolution. Obviously, you couldn't activate it on the base Switch, but this guy did the math, and I trust that guy. Looking at Sony with the PlayStation 4 Pro had a similar thing where certain games were PS4 Pro enhanced, and so they would look and run better on the new Pro version of the console. That's sort of what I'm thinking for the Switch 2, but on a much smaller scale. In fact, as I was editing this video, it seems another leak came out basically confirming the Switch 2 will have 4K upscaling. On the current Nintendo Switch hardware, if you have it modded, technically you can run certain games better if you overclock the system. This is something they could easily implement with the Switch 2. Since it's got better hardware, you know, it can make Switch 1 games run better, just not that much crazier. Like, don't expect Scarlet and Violet to suddenly be running 60 FPS just from playing it on Switch 2. But speaking of games, another big question some people have is how much the games themselves will actually cost, because in case you didn't know, Tears of the Kingdom, the latest, or wait, no longer latest, but you know, the last big Zelda game was actually $70 instead of the usual $60, at least in USD. Yeah, games have been getting pricier. A lot of PlayStation 5 games are also priced at $70 in USD, which could be related to the quality of the games going up, but also, I guess, inflation. Not an economy person, but game prices have been going up. That's a fact. So will Nintendo Switch 2 games be $70? Will Legends ZA be $70? If they do plan on making another Let's Go, I hope it's just one game, because it's a big difference going from 3DS to now Switch era, buying 2 versions. So let me know what you guys think of all this. Will you be picking up the Nintendo Switch 2 when it comes out, or will it depend on the price? And same with Legends ZA. Are you excited for it? Are you dying for another trailer? Because it seems like one's coming soon. I mean, if they don't do a trailer on Pokemon Day, oh my god, I feel like there's gonna be riots on the street.